That's why I was wondering where the cam was. Why don't you guys have a Google Hangout, or even better, you guys should use Tiny Chat. I've been going to Tea Time Chat on Tiny Chat for years. Super Mod OG met a lot of amazing people and famous rich people there. He said they allow up to 16 people at a time to video chat. If you start the group, you can control who's in it, so you can put just you three, but other people can come in and watch and join and just, do the chat thing, or, where they type the message board.
That sounds good. Why not?
Right, and I was like, well, send me the link, and I will figure it out tomorrow. And he said, yeah, so we might try that. That might be an interesting thing to try.
Okay.
But who knows? All right, I'm done with that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, like, there's also Google Chat, too.
Yeah, I'm really upset with Google today, though. I got on Google to just share all our stuff on my Google Plus, on my Hardcore Entertainment stuff. Gone. All of it. Gone.
Where did it go?
Well, I had two separate accounts, okay? I had my personal account, and then I had my Hardcore account, right? So I had my personal page, and then I had my business page. Well, when Google, about a couple months ago, and I don't really use, the Google Plus a lot, because I don't find a lot of people on there. And if they do, they're just clicking their own shit. So I don't use it a lot, but when I was, I would go and I'd put shows and flyers up. Well, I went today to put this one up, and what they've done is now it's for every one person. It's one account. You can have as many Gmails as you want, but it's still only going to go to one account. So they took the two accounts, weighed them out, and said, oh, let's get rid of his business page that he worked on for the last 3 years with all of his content, pictures, contacts, and let's just delete that and just go with this brand new personal page that has nothing and make him do it all over again. I found that today, and I was like, God damn it, Google.
God, that would piss me off.
Google stole my googliness.
Do you think it's been done on purpose?
No, Google. What it was is people were signing up with 400, 500 email accounts. Doing different things from each one. So I understand why, but it's like I only had two, and you could have easily seen one was way active and one wasn't. Why would you? Why would you get rid of the active one and keep the crap one?
Yeah. No, you know what? Let's do Tiny Chat. Tiny Chat.
Yeah. Are you looking at it?
No, I'm not. Where is it? Did you give me the link?
tinychat.com.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll look at it eventually. I mean.
That's what I said too. Eventually.
We're doing this now. I've got us on full screen actually at the moment. I was in chat for a moment, but we don't need to be in chat. I'll take us out of that. Hide. Okay. Because where's Northflat? Is he coming on?
That's a great question. I think he's above me. I don't really know. Sounds like I hear footsteps on the roof, but could just be reindeer.
Oh. So he had to go do something?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. He went and did something, but I think he's upstairs. Northflat, we're filming trips. Okay, he's coming. I don't know. Look at this lighter we got. You see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens when everybody forgets a lighter, but everybody remembers to bring their weed. You end up with one of these, which are really hard to do because they got these safeties you got to hold down. It's kind of like putting together a puzzle just to get high. It's like by the time I get it to my mouth and I actually hit this, it's already ruined my high because I put so much effort into this.
It's kind of like a pain in the ass is what it's kind of like.
Pain in the ass, exactly.
So somebody asked me, like, there was a guy that actually had been watching the show on the Hemptress channel, and then he started talking to me on my Facebook, personally chatting with me, and then he was actually gave a nice compliment. He just out of nowhere said, "You're so funny," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he said, and then he finally, as we were still talking online, he goes, "Occupy Vaginas." He goes, "I'm watching." So he was the guy that was watching. And then he asked where we were getting, I ran out of juice I had to turn this off because I ran out of juice. It was 2.5 hours had been filming. So I, went to the bathroom, came back, and he goes, "What happened?" I go, "Well, we're gonna do trips." And then he goes, "Well, I hope that like Kevin Korn isn't. I like Kevin Korn, but I hope I don't have to look at him wearing lingerie."
Class. Come on, I just want my vagina occupied too.
I think he's on now because we do have one viewer. So hello.
Hello, one viewer. Hello, viewer. Hope I don't look like a giant chocolate starfish winking at you.
I promise not to show you my vagina.
Occupied vaginas. I didn't even get a chance to see the
way down
group.
here.
I got off the page.
Occupy. Oh wait. I went way tiny right there. I can't seem to stretch this out farther though. Here, let me see if I can like sit this, because now like nobody can see, like you can't see me that good, but that's all right. I guess I can go like that. Yeah, you can see me. Okay, that works. That I'll only do that when I'm talking. So.
Tonight's show was awesome.
Yeah, did you like it?
The whole thing was just fun. I mean, we talked about I like hallucinogenics. I can do 2 hours on hallucinogenics all the time. That was fun. And Roland A. Doobie, Ronnie, whatever, he was fun.
He is. I mean, like I couldn't believe it. Like, do you know that there's a video on him for 20 minutes about him explaining hydrogen water? I think, and I haven't had 20 minutes to really look at it right now, but I think, he, like how he mentioned, he drove his car on water.
Yeah.
It's on like hydrogen combustion or something like that.
Him breaking his cousin out of the mental hospital.
You did see that one?
Yeah, it's like wherever he's at, it's Fox 9, not 12, 20, whatever. It's Fox 9 there, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I didn't play it. I mean, I have it, but I only watched the first part of it because we were doing, our show. But it was pretty funny. Like, he's sitting there getting interviewed and he's, like, going through the motions of like, how he grabbed the security guard, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I don't know if it's a joke or not, like, because he's being interviewed, right, by an actual Fox News reporter, and he's like, and he's like yelling at him, he's telling him that, like, it's so, like, he's talking about grabbing the guy's nuts and shit, and like, I was like, who does that?
Well, it is kind of, he's an interesting dude. I mean, he's literally one of the most interesting people I've ever encountered in some ways.
He got me to eat hash that looked like dog shit, and it turned out to taste great. For real. And what's weird is I've always been the exact opposite. He also taught me something else about hash. I always thought the blonder and the blonder it was, the better. That's the better hash. And he was like, no. He was like, no, that's just that if you do that, all you're doing is getting like the THC and it's the THC. And I was like, well, that's what I want. I get high. And he's like, you want the CBDs in you want all of it. That you want it all. And he was like, and the darker it is, the better it is because it has everything in it. And I was like, really? I was like, I've been sitting on this hash because it's black and I already smoked all the blonde out of it. So I've just been having it, pretty much since Comic-Con. So I figured, F it, I'll eat it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. I was like, this guy can do it, I can do it. Let's do it on the air. I honestly expected it to be nasty, and I thought it was going to be fun. You guys are going to hear me. But no, it tasted great. I loved it. It was amazing. I recommend it. If you've never eaten hash, I recommend it to everyone.
You know what? I love about the hash thing is it was so spontaneous, and I was like, no way, you're not gonna eat. I mean, like, to me, like that's kind of like that's fun radio,
I thought so.
That's what the show's all about, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was on the John Mellencamp show. I literally had my tongue pierced on the air.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I remember doing that, getting my tongue pierced on the air, and I had it. I kept it for like 2 or 3 years too.
Nice. Well, I didn't slam no bottle of mustard or anything, but I figured, he was talking about eating it, and I had some, and I was like, I've never done it. Why not, And I thought it was awkward because I'm pretty sure people who were listening were thinking, who eats hash, right? Well, that's what I was thinking, so I was like, well, let's give those viewers a taste. So I figured we'd go for it.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna call yourself Kevin Bubble Hash Corn either.
No, absolutely not. No. Kevin Kernel Corn, Yellow Corn, White Corn, Summer Corn, Winter Corn. You know, I could do this all day. Baby Corn.
Baby Corn.
Baby Corn. Oh, man. Let's see here. I'm trying to find this Occupy Vaginas page, but Facebook is taking like 2 days to open.
Really?
Yes.
That's weird. I mean, like, yeah, I just, you know, I posted your stuff. I think some of your photos of you in at the Million Mask March on Occupy Vagina. I was just like, oh, I'm in Occupy Vagina. I wasn't thinking. Even then, I was so focused on getting that information out and all the different anonymous things or Occupy things that I didn't even like think about the fact that the irony of being in Occupy Vagina. People post in there all the time. I mean, you know. I think it's one of those like our friend has created like several ones, and I think one of them is actually Occupy Your Vagina. But I was the first to coin that. I have a video of me on the hill telling people to occupy their vagina at Occupy in LA. So I think that yeah, right. In the moment I said occupy your vagina while I was occupying my vagina at the Occupy. So, you know, because I can't, I mean, if it's my vagina, then I occupy it. I mean, you know, I mean, obviously I occupy my own vagina unless I let somebody else occupy it with me. And, you know, yeah.
It's usually funner that way. Well, I don't know. I don't have a vagina myself.
Right.
But if I did, I would assume I'd be all up occupying my vagina most of the time, too.
Maybe I'll just go, you know, now my new line is going to be, you know, I'm going to allow you to occupy my vagina now. That sounds so, like, weird.
Oh, that would be really weird. That'd be kind of creepy, like, too. It'd be like, so I'm going to let you occupy my vagina now. What?
I didn't know wasn't really interested in occupying your vagina.
NSA file?
You may now I now pronounce you man and wife. You may now occupy her vagina.
Now occupy her vagina. That'd actually be better than saying you may now kiss the bride. You may now occupy her vagina. About time I said to marry this bitch for this.
So, you know what cracked me up in that video about the Millionaire March? The Millionaire March. Supposed to be the Million Mask March. I call it the Millionaire Mask March.
Millionaire Mask March. We all could have been. I swear they were about ready to start shooting at people. I was like, I'm going to get some money. I want to run out in front of one of these horses and see if I can get it to run me over.
Yeah, but you know what I noticed when you're about to like look into the camera and talk about where all the police is and all this kind of stuff, you know, over there. At first, you turn around with your hardcore entertainment jacket and let the camera film that. Then you turn around, you have hardcore entertainment on. The whole fucking time I go, classic, always a salesman.
Right, always. Well, I'm going to go, the whole point is we wanted to go to the anonymous, you know, Million Mask March, and we wanted to actually, the idea was, we wanted to see what it was about, what it was going on, how, what was, I was really surprised at the few people that were there. There really wasn't that many people there.
Really?
So that was really weird.
Except for the crisis protesters. The crisis protesters were there, right?
Yeah, there were crisis, and because normal protesters didn't show up, the crisis protesters stood out like sore thumbs, it's like they were obvious.
What were they like, the crisis protesters?
Well, so all the protesters looked like, pretty much like Portlanders, you know what I'm saying? Like young, a lot of them were younger, like maybe mid-20s, looked like, some of them dressed like anarchists, Guy Fawkes masks, but they all looked, pretty like hippie-ish, pearlish. And then you had all these kind of older guys that, like, didn't walk in the crowd. They stood around, but they acted like they were part of it, but they're older. But they're in, like, business casual. Like, they just didn't look like they belonged.
Business casual? They're, like, business casual?
And they wouldn't talk to anybody. They stayed away. And then every now and then, like, I pointed a couple of them out to Steven, and Steven's like, I don't know. And then we watched one of them walk up to a cop with a notepad and talk to him for, like, 5 minutes. I was like, see? So I was like, it was weird. It was really weird. We actually have a picture, I think. I don't know if I uploaded it, but I might still have it. It might be in my Gmail because I think Steven took it.
Uh-huh.
But when right before the cops actually, like, ran up on everybody, we were all across the other side of the bridge. We're in Southeast now, right on the other side of the Burnside Bridge, right? Right by Officials or whatever. And we're in that like little grassy area, that little island that they got right there for the bridge, right there, that little turnabout or whatever. And the cops are all up against Officials, right? Sitting there, just lined up. I mean, they were waiting on the other side of the bridge for us. I mean, there was basically a SWAT team versus us, you know, like a few SWAT teams versus us. And all of a sudden, one guy walks out of the group, right? Walks across the street, walks up to one of the cops, and then two cops and him start walking back towards, you know, across the bridge, like, where it goes, before you actually cross the bridge or start crossing the bridge, there's the stairways down. And they go to the stairway down, and we were actually, at that point, we were trying to leave, because I was like, this is going to get bad, I'm getting out of here. I was like, I've been here long enough, I've been here for a few hours, I got everything I needed to get. And he took a picture of it from my truck, and we actually have a picture of this guy walking with the cops. And it was really weird, right in front of Officials. And it's like, he wasn't being arrested. You can tell in the picture he's walking with them. He's not being arrested. He's not being forced. He's not. And it's just, and we watched him come right out of the middle of the pack. So.
Well, didn't you say that, like you were talking to the cops and you felt that they thought that you were one of them, and, because you had your face covered and stuff like that you had a feeling that's how you kind of got tipped off that maybe, like, the whole entire, that the protest was infiltrated?
Yeah. Well, because right when we got there, I suited up. Like, I had the mask on and everything. And we walked around, and I kind of kept my distance, because we had Steven's baby with us, too. He had his little daughter. And so we weren't trying to get hit with beanbags or nothing. So we kind of kept our distance for a while, but the cops kept just staring at me, like giving me the dirtiest looks, right? So finally I just took my mask and glasses and everything off and just said, hey, and just started talking to them. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, and they were actually pretty friendly. Only one was a dick, and that was the one who got mad when I asked how many of you assholes are getting overtime. Because there was so many of them.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, they didn't really bother me, like I just kind of walked amongst them like I belonged there, and I took my mask off. I talked to a couple of them. They were kind of nice. So I just thought it was really weird that there was so many of them, so many of them. And compared to, like, you have maybe 150 protesters, and then you got 2,000 cops.
Oh, really? So the cops outnumbered the protesters?
Oh, by a 5 to 1. For every protester, there was about 5 cops. Easy.
I wonder how that was around the world. I mean, this is what happened in Portland. I wonder what happened around the world.
Yeah, I saw some pictures, but I didn't really see too many people getting, like, beat on and stuff. I did see one other video of where, like, it got bad with the protesters and the cops. But pretty much Portland and only that other place were the only 2 videos I saw. And I linked most of them to my video. I linked my video to it most of the time, so it helped. It helped.
I really like our video because it I don't know. I just think it's comical at the same time. It's saying, it's capturing something. It's not your run of the mill kind of footage of what's going on. I think it's very different, actually.
We couldn't have timed it better. Like, I didn't. We started that, and in the middle of my thing, I'm pointing out cops, and all of a sudden, whoa, 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 there's the helicopters. Like, I don't know how that, it just happened. It's like one of those things. It just happened. It was beautiful, and I was like, we got this on camera. It was beautiful. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, here come the Multnomah County wagons. Here come the vans. That means people are getting arrested right then. And I go, there's the Fed. Here comes the choppers. And it was so funny because I point to the sky, and I remembered that Fox News thing that happened a couple weeks ago where, like, it was Sean Hannity, I think, and he was on TV, and he was all, yeah, and he's talking about, like, some air show, and all they had, like, he did, like, 5 minutes while your screen just looked at sky. You saw none of the planes or helicopters, and he's talking about them, and it was just hilarious, right? And I was like, oh, my God, I'm talking about helicopters, or we're not going to helicopters, and then all of a sudden, you could hear it, like, feel it. It was just weird. It was almost like they were watching us, and then I know there was a Fed right across the street from us. And as soon as I go, him, I was like, he's a Fed, and I pointed him out. And as soon as I did, he, like, runs and hops in his car, like, this car. And then as we're filming it, I'm like, yeah, now he's sitting there typing on his computer. Like, he didn't just run in his car and hop on a computer, I'm running for my life. The first thing I gotta do is hop in the front seat of my car, lock the doors, and Facebook.
You know what? I want to share something with you today. I haven't even clicked open because I've just been looking at the headlines and it just really annoys me just to even click onto it. Is Governor Brown? I belong to some of like the liberal groups that you sign petitions for and stuff like that. And it said, oh, support Governor Brown to stop, to ban the guns that was used in the AR-14s or whatever that was 15s that were used in the LAX shooting. Like they were already like marketing a petition for people who are liberal to want to to ban it because I mean it's already it's happening. It's happening.
Well, here's my issue. My issue is we're supposed to be America. We're in America. We're supposed to be free. We're supposed to be free. Our Second Amendment right says we can own guns and do it with, whatever. Here's my thing. I honestly believe that there are certain guns that people shouldn't be able to get their hands on or access. However, I also believe that no one should be able to tell that person whether or not they can and can't have that gun. So with that being the case, why are we going after people who own these guns? And why don't we go after the people who make the guns? If we took out if we told the people who are making AR-15s, you guys can no longer make these guns, right?
Yeah, but that's not. You're crossing a little bit of a line there too.
It's a corporation. I don't give a shit. Now you're gonna tell me a corporation's a person too?
No,
it's a corporation.
But still, if you're gonna fucking single out a corporation, then you have to single out all corporations.
It's not just one.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you're gonna single out a corporation, why not to single out all corporations?
All of them.
That includes mom and pop corporations.
They can't. You can't make the gun. Now here's the thing: you cannot make the gun and sell it. If you can sit at home and make the gun yourself, keep it.
Who gets to be the king? Who gets to
decide? You ever seen somebody get shot with an AR-15?
Who gets to decide which stays and which goes? Do we appoint a gun czar?
We do. We vote people in, and we do. And people have to make, and I honestly look at America. Do you trust half of the retards you see around here with an AR-15? No.
It was guns like that kept that. I hate to say it, but it was guns like that won wars.
Right, but they're not being used on wars. They're being used on
war. The Civil War was won by Gatling guns.
How many people took a Gatling gun into a mall? Or into a shopping center.
Well, essentially, what you're saying is fucking.
If they did, I would say, do not let these people get a Gatling gun.
What you're saying is that essentially is that an AR-15 is basically the same fucking thing.
It is. It really is. I don't. You know what? You can have a handgun. You can do just as much damage. You do not need. For self-protection, you do not need an AR-15.
Who gives you the fucking right to decide if I need that or not? That's what pisses me off. I went to coffee the other day and put fucking six fucking caffeine things in there. The guy tells me that you can't have that many.
You can build it.
You shouldn't eat that many.
If you can build it, you can have it. That's my thing. If you can build it, you can have it. You shouldn't be able to walk into a store and just purchase it off of a shelf. If you can build it, you can have it.
Okay. Now there I can agree with. If you have it set up, stores can't sell automatic weapons. Right. If you can build them,
right.
That makes sense.
If you can build it yourself.
If you build it, they will come.
Exactly. And that's my thing, and that was pretty much what I was trying to say is that I don't believe that you can tell people what they can and can't have. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you can't go about that. It just causes that kind of reaction. So what you have to do is you have to be smarter about it. You gotta go around that and be like, okay, so we'll take these off the store shelves and tell people, yeah, you can still own an AR-15 if you can find one, and if you can build it, sure, you can own it. Build it. You know what? Make fucking Americans do something again. You know what? We are so fucking lazy. We buy all our shit from China because nothing gets made here. We blame Mexicans for taking all our jobs, but it's all the work nobody else in America wants to fucking do. This is the issue. Get off your ass. If you want an AR-15, show me you can build one. I mean, I'm watching guys make handguns out of 3D printers. If you can build an AR-15, you're more than welcome to it, because I'm pretty sure if you know how to build an AR-15, you know how to use it, and you're not running into any fucking place with people and shooting anybody anytime soon.
Yeah, but that's not what this is about, really. I mean, like what bothers me about it is first of all, most people, I mean, not most people, a lot of people think it's a false flag. All right, I mean, like once it happened, it's like, okay, next agenda. Oh, now they're doing this. Yeah. Do I wish that guns didn't exist on the planet? Absolutely. I mean, I'm one of those people. I don't like guns. Okay, but you know what? If they take us down, if they take the guns away from everybody, I'm just afraid I mean, it's the writings on the wall. That is part of the agenda of us being taken over. That's the agenda. If they disarm America, then that's it. We're done. That's part of.
They want to take our guns. They want to take our guns and our ammo, and then they want to put TSA agents all over the country, and then they want to arm them.
Right.
With our guns and ammo.
So this is not going to go away, and unfortunately, they've sped up all these false flags, and they're gonna keep doing it. And the reason why I'm asking about what's going like is anonymous a future scenario? Is protesting a future scenario? They're going to. I mean, here's my theory. I mean, I'm just theorizing. But here you have the president sign the NDAA bill, so you can have your domestic terrorism. So they got all these like groups. You say like, oh, on Facebook they're putting everybody in groups. Here's the anonymous groups. Here's these people. Here's the anarchists. Here's the people that are like disruptive in society. And then they're going to mark us even worse. And I looked at that like the thing that I reposted in Trips. About how like the FBI infiltrated all the different systems and fuck with them and fuck with the groups and caused chaos and had undercover people just to disrupt the groups. All of a sudden you have these people that come in and instigate a bad move on our part. Anybody who goes after peace, they're going to come after. Anybody who like is going for, like the opposite of their agenda, pointing a finger at the 1%, making them do it, they're going to do what they're going to do. So the goal is to create these false flags to take it over, right?
That's exactly what they're doing. They're using the false flags.
And it could be occupiers that they do it to, and then that would make the entire rebellion against their agenda completely look bad. Let's take the guns. Let's put these people away. Boom.
Right, and that's
done.
Actually what I thought was about to happen.
You don't think that's what they've been doing with all the fucking kids and the AR-15s?
Yeah.
How the fuck do kids get AR-15s? Where the fuck are these teenagers getting fucking automatic fucking weapons to go and fucking take out of school? These aren't kids in urban fucking areas. These aren't kids in the fucking hood. Where are these kids getting fucking automatic fucking weapons? The assault rifles. What the fuck? That ain't fucking right.
No, it's part of the agenda.
It's part of the agenda. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that these kids, as parents, fucking were involved in big fucking court cases weeks within those fucking shootings. All of them. The fucking Sandy Hook kid, his dad, when they first did the coverage on that, they said there were two shooters. And they were saying that it was his dad and him.
Oh, they caught the one, too. The video, that first helicopter shows them arrest that guy in the woods, put him in the back of a car, and then they drive off.
However, we know that it wasn't his dad because his dad was in the middle of fucking Senate hearings at the time against Monsanto, no less. And a handful of other corporations that were involved in a fucking giant, I can't think of the word that they use for whatever. Anyway, it was a huge case. Same with the fucking kid from Colorado that shot up that fucking movie theater.
Yep.
His parents, his father was in the same fucking the same Senate hearings.
Well, you know what? I heard that they were connected to the LIBOR scandal. That both like Adam Lanza's dad and as well as the shooter in Colorado's dad, they were both involved in the LIBOR scandal, and they were supposed to go to court or something like that on it.
Then they had to have that kid here in Clackamas go do it at the mall so they could fucking try to blame it. Look, it's not a scandal. They're doing it everywhere. It's just classic. It's classic. It's like 3-card Monty. You know what I'm saying? Follow the card, follow the card, follow the card, pick one. Do you got it? Nope, it's right here. You know, it's classic 3-card Monty. They're holding all the cards. It's basically what it is, and they're doing it, and it's getting worse. It's getting like more. It's coming faster and faster, and it's getting more blatant. More blatant. I mean, just blatant. And I believe most of these things that we've had happen are false flags. You know, I mean, there's too many weird things. Like, hey, we're just going to be testing. We're just going to be running bomb tests the day of the Boston Marathon. During the Boston Marathon, on the same streets they're running, we're going to go ahead and get permits to run bomb tests.
Oh shit! Look at 9/11. Same fucking thing.
Well, it happened
9/11.
with the TSA shooting. Same thing happened there. I mean, the guy even admitted it during the broadcast, that footage. I mean, like, that's all. And you know what? It keeps going up faster and faster on YouTube. It's totally clear that's
what's bugging me about this GX fucking electrical grid test that they've been talking about doing all week, right? Think about this. What if they needed enough? What if what they were actually testing or checking was to see how much of a strain a giant typhoon might put on the fucking United States electrical grid if they sucked all of the fucking energy or as much energy as they could into fucking HARP to produce a fucking, you know, a typhoon larger than anything that we've ever seen.
A lot of people think that has a lot. HARP has a lot of something to do with it because it's not just the typhoon. Just 4 months previous, they were hit by one of the biggest earthquakes they had ever seen, followed by one of the biggest typhoons that's ever been recorded in human history. And then they're still getting hit with these after storms. That's like, where does this shit come from? It's, you know, I can remember growing up, okay? I was born in 1982, and all through the 80s and all through the 90s, we never saw storms like this. We maybe got one, and it wasn't ever that bad, okay? Not until Katrina did this shit start happening. And it happens, and since Katrina, it hasn't stopped happening. Have you noticed that? Since Katrina, every year we get these fucking storms that are just wiping out the world. And
yeah.
Why? You know, what has changed in the last 5-6 years? What's changed in the last 6 years to make weather do this? I can tell you we didn't have a bunch of HARP centers all over the world 6 years ago.
Oh, we did. We've had them for a while.
We've had HARP antennas, but not to the amount of fields where we're actually buying commercial space and building them by like the thousands in a rows in fields. Like, we're buying commercial space and putting them, and we're actually making HARP farms.
Yep.
Before we'd just stick HARP here, HARP there, HARP here, and try to, you know, I think they were still learning. You know, they were still learning, but now that they've got their data, now they're like, oh, we need it here, we need it here. They know, you know. They know where their grid is. Do you know you know what else we drove by in Salt Lake City that I'm kind of upset that we didn't look and take pictures at because I didn't even know?
What?
Did you know that Salt Lake City right there, and we drove by it right off the highway, they're building the biggest, was it like an NSA server?
Yes, in Utah. We were talking about it.
Yeah, it's the biggest NSA server in the world. It's the biggest server in the world. It's going to be owned by the NSA, and it's in Salt Lake City being built as we speak because they're having problems listening to everybody. So they need more servers. So they're building themselves a server farm in the middle of the Utah desert. Signed off by Obama. Barack Obama, by the way. Which is, yeah. So. They're listening. It's like, so they're listening, people. Careful what you say on the phone. Not really. Who cares? I mean, I don't really think they're out to get everybody, you know, at least not at this point, you know, as far as, you know, whatever. But they are using your information, and they're not, and, you know, it's funny because I hear some people actually argue with me. Well, they're like Google. They're using the information to make things better for you. They're like, yeah, have you seen Google Glasses? I'm like, Google Glasses? Tell that to the Jews when they got a number. You know, how well did that work out for them? Hey, guess what? You know, we're going to put this number on you. We're going to put you in this group. We're going to walk you over here. This is where you're going to be, and we're doing this because we know everything about you. See, they can, if they know every move you're going to make, if they know that if you send a text like, damn, I'm hungry, and then the next thing that pops up on your phone or over your radio, or through your head is, Wendy's, Wendy's, Wendy's. If you're in the car and you drive by a Wendy's, you're going to pull in and buy something. So it sounds stupid, like they're using it for marketing purposes, right? But technically it's a form of control. They are now guiding you where they want you to go. You've now become the sheep and let them become the herder. And that's exactly what they're doing with your information. Google does it all the time. I work for Google. I watch them do it. They will memorize everything you search for, everything you do online, whether you're on Facebook, even if you're not on Google, they're watching. They keep track of everything, okay? And what they'll do is, let's say if you're on Facebook and like an ad pops up for shoes and you click on it and you look on it and you're like, oh, okay. You'll go off. You'll go on Google next time, and let's say you look up something like NSA or something stupid, right? You'll get advertisements in the top first thing, and then down the side row. Those are called AdWords, right? And AdWords used to be ran that you could pick which words, and you still can. You know what I'm saying? However, they do this thing called AdWords Express now, where Google's pretty much in charge of it. You just pay a monthly fee, and their computer puts you where you're supposed to be. Yeah. So what they'll do is if you're a shoe company and you're paying for Google AdWords Express, which is usually it's usually done locally. So if like you're in Vancouver and you're looking at shoes on another website, and then you go to Google and you type in anything, Google's going to throw AdWords for you from a shoe company or a shoe store in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds good if you're the business owner, but that's not good if you're the citizen. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because then they go, oh, she's going to be buying shoes at maybe this particular place, and that's where we can find her at.
Well, or they'll just track you. I mean, it's anything. I mean, it's just the beginning. I mean, the idea is if they know every single thing about you, what you eat, where you go, and all of this is easy to do through your phone, through your computer, through your TV, through your cars, through your radios.
Facebook.
Yeah, obviously, all of them.
I think about all the time where I put, I'm performing here tonight. I'm performing there tonight. I'm doing, I'm here, there, blah, blah, blah. But even when you do Ustream, it'll ask you, do you want to give your location? Why the fuck would I want to do that? I mean, no, I don't want to give you my location. Well, and really, what?
It's like the dummies on Facebook that are, I can fucking track them all over fucking Portland all day long.
Oh, yeah.
They just sit there, they post where they're at all day long. Oh, I went to Five Guys.
Half the time they don't even do it. Half the time they're not even doing it. They have an app on their phone that whenever they walk in somewhere that has Wi-Fi, it connects and then GPSes them and then posts it online.
Really? Oh, yes. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that at all.
Yeah. That's just simple. And that's just, people are already doing that. I mean, you got cars.
The phones are coming as that as their default.
Yep. Yeah, and do you notice all the new smartphones, no matter what company you buy, they don't have batteries? You can't take your battery. They don't have batteries anymore.
Really?
There's no battery to take in or out of them. So they're always on. So even when they're dead, it's still on. There's no actual battery that you can remove to separate. Which is, if you don't want your phone being traced and you don't want to be tracked, you take the battery out or you break your phone, one of the two, But now you don't have an option because now they keep the batteries in them. They got smart.
The smartphone got smart.
Right. Well, no, the people wanting to listen into your smartphone got smart.
Oh.
I have you on my screen twice, Terry.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's cool.
Yeah. You got the full screen, and then you got one of the boxes too.
Oh wow!
It's because I was on another website.
I
went onto Facebook, and if you're on Skype and you go onto another website,
yeah,
it'll automatically put a little box of what you're watching, who you're talking to, in front of Facebook. So it did that, but I didn't close it when I got off. I figured when I got off Facebook, it would just automatically close it, but it kept it open.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see you over there too. That's wild. I didn't realize it actually really did that.
I didn't know either. I just found that out too.
Well, that's cute. All right.
And Oh no! As soon as you click the box, it'll disappear.
Yeah.
I was gonna move it.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was gonna move it because when I'm on Facebook, I can click on it and move it anywhere I want to.
All right, well, move it. Move it. Go ahead.
What? Oh, I can't move mine now.
Oh, can I move mine?
If I'm talking to you on Skype, like right now, like we were just talking,
Uh-huh.
I was actually on Facebook. So my screen showed Facebook, but I had a little picture of you.
Oh.
And then when I got off Facebook, it went back to Skype, the full screen, but it kept the little video window of you too.
Huh? It's
until
not.
I clicked on it because I was gonna move it over to the side, but when I clicked on it, it went off.
Oh.
You know what's strange? I was looking up something because I had seen the other day a couple posts on a Columbine conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And there's, believe it or not, there is a number of unanswered questions about the Columbine shooting.
Well,
the one that I think is very, stands out the most is, why did over 100 eye and ear witnesses dispute the official theory of only 2 shooters? And why did over 40 of those 100 witnesses identify other participants by name?
Really?
That's strange, huh?
Yeah. You know what else? Yeah, well, that actually ties into a lot. Think about JFK. How many people told the Warren Commission there were other shots fired? They smelled gunpowder on the street. Think about how many people at the Clackamas Town Center shooting swore up and down there was at least 3 to 4 shooters. Yeah.
If the 2 shooters committed suicide shortly after noon, as police claim, how come at least 35 witnesses saw or heard suspects, gunshots, or explosions after that time?
Right. Well, I mean, I know Columbine was, and you know what? You know how I came to the conclusion Columbine was? Because I had to come to this. I had to research this fact myself. Did you know that at the exact same time Columbine happened, when those kids walked into that school and started shooting it up, it is actually still to this day our country's biggest bombing campaign on a third world country.
That's what I was looking for right there. That's what I was looking for when I was looking this up. I was trying to figure out. I knew something else happened that day.
Bill Clinton, a lot of people don't know this, but Bill Clinton went down in history, and it's secret history because not a lot of people know this, as the president who did the biggest bombing campaign on Kosovo, nonetheless, which is why we went after Iraq, because because Saddam Hussein was a war criminal for using gas against Kosovo. Yet we went and dropped hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of bombs, all in a few-hour period, while these kids were inside of a school shooting. You never saw it once on TV because of the school shooting. Fact.
Yep.
And you know who actually taught me that? Marilyn Manson. That's actually where I got that little tidbit from. And then I researched it and found out it was true. But it was Marilyn Manson who actually said that. Actually, he said it in Bowling for Columbine. I believe he said it in the movie. When they interviewed him, and he said that actually, he goes, what a lot of people don't know is that same day and that same exact hours was the biggest bombing raid in American history done by Bill Clinton. Everybody thinks he was this great president, but it turns out he was bombing third world countries too.
I've had one of the guys who was in the Columbine shooting and in Bowling for Columbine on Hollywood Hempress Hour like 2 times when I was on New Distant Radio. Right. And I bet it would be fun to have him come on now, and then maybe I wonder if he would be cool about us asking these kind of questions.
Well, I have a whole, I don't, but Northblatt has a whole page of how many scroll to the bottom there? Is there like 100? I mean, you're not even halfway down. 33. We have 33 unanswered questions, and all of them are pretty amazing. But I mean, we could sit down and get maybe 5 or 6 of the best ones.
Uh-huh.
And kind of ask them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And kind of see, what do you think of this? Blah, 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 and see what he says. That would be cool.
Yeah, he's involved in the marijuana movement too, and his name is Richard Castaldo, and he's friends. And I want to have Craig X. Rubin. Oh, Craig's going to be a great guest. Craig actually co-hosted with me for a while on when I was on New Distant Radio, and he's got just a compelling story. I mean, he's a comedian too. But also he had this place called Temple 420, which was a Judeo Christian temple that they held church at. You know, because like they were under the guise that marijuana is used for religious purposes or spiritual purposes. So, but he was a dispensary owner, and any type of the dispensaries that kind of practiced that got really hit really hard by the feds, and he really got fucked with. And then he was also a consultant for weeds, and he played a part on weeds, and I mean he's pretty cool. So I have to get him to come onto the show too soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wrote this book. He wrote this book called The Wizard of Weed by Craig X. Rubin. Vince Fluke. Okay, Vince Fluke and Richard Castaldo, the guy who was in Columbine, and Craig X. Rubin. We did the 420 show together. And Craig X is looking at Vince Fluke going, Vince. He goes VINTZ Flintz. He goes that's like really like that's really like Fluke's your real last name, blah blah. He's like just giving him shit, and I go, what about you, Craig X Rubin? Like, doesn't he really have an X as your middle name?
Turns out it was Xavier.
Right. No, but it's not really.
CXP. He just maybe liked to watch wrestling or something.
No, it's his branding. He branded himself. CXR, I can respect that. I can respect that. I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge branding yourself with your name. There's nothing wrong with that.
CRX, yeah, he named himself after a Honda dirt bike. No, just kidding. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, some of these questions I'm kind of looking at as he's scrolling over them. They're just kind of funny. Like, what happened to all the evidence taken from the computers of the trench coat mafia gang? All of that's never been released public. And they were supposedly in a trench coat mafia gang, and they went and took all their computers. Well, where's all the evidence of their gang? Where was all their messages and their their talking back and forth?
Yeah, or why if we know that the media was on scene doing interviews. No, not doing interviews, but they were talking about it outside of the place. But why is it that the local media refused to release on-scene video footage from the first half hour of the incident? They didn't release any of that footage, even though they have it. It's just weird. There's just too many. Who scheduled a crisis training drill at Columbine High School in the week before, and what was the exact nature of this training?
Yeah, why is it every time one of these happen, we can go back and find that the NSA and the government and Homeland Security and everybody else has claimed that they're going to go ahead and do a training on that day? That this happened, this was Denver, Clackamas County. Did anybody see that? I worked like 2 blocks from the mall, and people were calling me going, there's people shooting up the mall. And I looked at it, and within 2 minutes of them getting that report, cops from like 6 other counties were already on the scene. How is that possible? Oh, because right across the street, they were doing a training seminar. How convenient. Same with Denver. Same with Boston. I mean, how do people not start to see this? It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that every time the NSA files for a training op, whatever they're training on, the shit goes bad, right? So therefore, if it's not the NSA, then it's whoever's filing the fucking, the permits, because they know when they're filing a permit to do a training op, and those people are selling the information to whoever's going and doing this shit, right? Is that what you're trying to tell me? No, then go fuck yourself. It's the NSA. For real. Security my ass.
There's another one. Why did authorities claim that the 2 shotguns seized had no serial numbers when later documents clearly show that they did have serial numbers? Why did they not try to find out who sold Harris and Klebold the high-point 9mm rifle and a pump-action shotgun that were used in the shooting? Right? Who the fuck sells high schoolers automatic weapons and shotguns? And granted, where I grew up, there were seniors and juniors in high school that had fucking rifles and had shotguns. I mean, shit, I'd shot numerous amount of guns by the time I was fucking senior in high school.
High school in Tillamook, we all had guns.
However, this is a different area. This was a city. This was a town.
Columbine's not only a town. Everybody who lives in that town works for Boeing.
Yeah.
They're rich as fuck.
It's not as if, kids are out there, shooting squirrels and fucking birds out in the fucking neighborhood.
It's Boeing and Lockheed Martin
Oh.
that own the city that the actual Columbine High School is in.
Oh,
it's
cool.
Lockheed. That's the two major jobs out there is Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and so that's where most everybody obviously in that area works. These kids were very well off.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it was a Lockheed Martin city.
Yep.
Then
You were gonna say that? Oh, it is a Lockheed Martin city.
No, I said if it's a Lockheed Martin city, then yeah, these kids were definitely well off.
Did you see the Gus Van Sant did a movie at one point where he it was kind of about kids doing a shooting at a school, like a kind of a Columbine sort of situation. I can't remember the title of it. I remember watching some of it. Some of his movies go real slow, so you're like, oh my god, you feel like you've taken some drug before you've even started the film.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to say that I don't like Gus Van Sant, but I don't think it's one of his best. But the point that I remember from the film was a lot of video games are being played. So the video games seem to coincide the actual shooting. And I feel that that's probably the point of it. I actually think
You're
that
so right.
You're
so right. I actually made that joke earlier. I'm so glad you brought that up, Terry. Because me and North Blatt were talking about that earlier, and I actually brought up the fact that I think this is the reason these games are coming out too. These first, when we were a kid, I had Duck Hunt. Okay? I had these ducks that went in the air, I shot it came down, and a dog went and brought it back to me, right? Duck Hunt. Okay? Now they have first-person role-player shooting games that look realer than shit, and they're running through terrain, and I'm like, why? And why are they so popular? And they're not popular because they're just awesome games. They're popular because they're marketed like extreme. I mean, millions upon millions of dollars going
when
to
you
marketing
fly
these games.
when you fly a drone in these games, these new military games that are coming out. You fly a drone, it's the exact same process that you'd be doing if you were sitting in the military flying a drone. Exact same. You're looking at a screen, you've got the same fucking controller in your hand, you're flying this thing around and you're taking out people. I mean, it's exactly the same. It's training. Why not? I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think it's a little sinister. I think I think that there's some ulterior motives definitely going on.
Well, I watched.
I'd like to think that it was for the good of our country that these guys were trying to train the youth as to how to protect themselves or the state of their union with the use of firearms. But unfortunately, I don't think that that's the situation. As they constantly try to take our guns away from us.
Yep.
So the only thing I can figure is that they're trying to train
killers.
They're trying to train the next generation of warriors.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's again, I'm gonna bring back to I've been watching Roxy Lopez's The Truth Denied show a lot, and she had a guest that talked about that video games actually reprograms your brain to be like that, to it does something to you. It alters. It goes into your very core self and like shifts you in some way, simply because you're killing people the way it is, like a sniper or whatever. It's actually making you that. It's programming your brain to accept that
now,
or do it.
They're so realistic. Okay, they're not nearly as realistic as they could be. what should we call it? Who is it? EBDA or EBA?
The people that rate games.
The people that rate the games and whatnot. They've decided, or they've done testing and whatnot, and figured that if the games get any more real, it's gonna become a real problem for the human brain to distinguish reality from non-reality. It's hard enough with just dreams for the human brain to distinguish the difference between what was dreamt and what was real. Okay, but when you're looking at real people dying, I mean, essentially that's what you're going to be looking at. I mean, it's the technology's there, the graphics are there. They just won't release them. They won't do that. They don't want to. They don't want to ruin the fucking brains of all these kids. Well, at least the developers, anyhow. I mean, whoever's pulling the strings, I can't, really speak for them. But
I honestly think it's a whole different sinister reason. I think it's sinister, but I think it's a little different. I think they're brainwashing them, but not in a way to actually be warriors. They're brainwashing them so when the shit does hit the fan, it's less of a shock. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like, they're like, oh my God, I got to get a gun and jump behind cars. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, they will go out and do that. But I assume that, that's the idea. But what are they going to do when they don't have any guns? They're going to think, whoa, shit, if I have no guns and all these guys got all the guns and they're telling me I got to do something, I know my video game says they can kill me. So I just better do what they say.
Well, there's I forgot what I was going to say right now. There was something. Oh, I know what it is. When I was doing, when we were doing Ganjapalooza, this weird dude, contacted us, and he, I forgot what he wanted to help us with advertising or something, but he was all into time traveling and he actually well, that's not weird, but he had this software that he had created that created like this virtual world that you had to sign a contract to, that released them, that you don't sue them if you lose your ability to detect what's real and not real anymore, that you could actually get lost in this other virtual real world that was possible. And I researched on the internet, and it actually really exists.
Yeah, Summer's aunt does it for a living. Second Life. She is a DJ on Second Life. She never comes out of her room. She's in her computer, and she makes money. So all these other people who are playing this game, it's called Second Life, right? She's a DJ. Not in real life. She's an old lady in real life who sits in front of a computer 24/7, right? But in the game, she's this hot little girl who's a DJ, and so like other people get married or have like parties and stuff in the game. So they actually hire her to bring her character in and be the DJ for the party and everything. And they actually use real money, and they pay her just like a real DJ gig. You could go on there, Terry, and be a brand new comic tomorrow, and people would pay you. You would say, I'm performing here, and for their Sims character or their little character to get in to see the show, they would have to pay you through PayPal. I shit you not.
I should maybe do that.
Well, here's the issue. Once you start doing it, it is also, she makes good money, but she's on it 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah.
About, I believe it was about 8 or 9 years ago, there was a game out called Ultimate Online, and it had been around for a good 5 or 6 years up until this point, but I believe there was a property on Ultimate Online that sold for $500,000 American. Sold. Somebody bought a virtual property, a fake, and mind you, this wasn't first person. This isn't like you can walk in the footsteps of the person living there and see all your fucking surroundings and whatnot. No, you're looking at it from the top. It's just a little house about the size of this square on the corner of the fucking TV here, and they bought it for $500,000. There's properties on there that go for $150,000, $300,000. And now there's World of Warcraft, which is giving you, I don't think because they don't have towns and stuff.
No, they don't. They buy characters.
But they buy
characters. It takes so long to get a character leveled up and get a gear, and somebody already has them. They'll go, oh, I'll buy your character, or people build them just. But
they've been doing those. With Ultima Online, they've been doing those that forever. You know, people actually with Ultima, there were people that would get hired to play the game while the people went to work.
Yep.
They got hired to chop wood, mine, and do the tedious tasks that had to be done during the day while these people were at work. Yep.
Did you ever see? There was this show called there was a few ads that go on YouTube videos, and it was like it goes. Be a part. Would you like to be a part of this community where everybody's free and thinks this way and the world's this way? And it sounded like this like really ideal world. And then it goes, join us. It was called Dualism or Dual. It had a weird name. And I went to it, and you could actually become part of a virtual community where you could, set your own rules and be who and it was like this kind of, it was almost like a social experiment to be part of it. And I only saw the ads run like 2 or 3 times, and it was gone. I looked at the site a few times. I read the parameters of it. I kind of took a look at it, and I went, you know what? This is a little too weird for me. Let me figure out I want to find out what somebody else does with it first before I join in here.
Well, speaking of this, have you seen that movie Gamer?
Yes,
not
Gamer.
Movie.
I saw the game.
But the premise was amazing. The premise was about where the government has come in and started rounding people up, like hiring them and rounding them up and putting chips in them, right?
Uh-huh.
And when they put this chip in them, then they would set you there, and then they would sell you to somebody at home on their computer who was like a gamer, right? And it was just like a virtual reality world, except it used real people.
It used prisons. It was a way of clearing out the prisons.
Yes. Well, that was a different movie, but it was very close.
That was Gamer.
No, it was a different one. Gamer wasn't the prison one. There was another one that came out just like where they went to go and kill everybody. Gamer he was just after his wife. Because she was getting used as like a whore and shit, so he went crazy, and then he went after the guy who created the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there was another one that was just like it too, where it was a video game where somebody was at home playing, and you controlled real people, but you controlled like a military guy who had to get through this prison. And if you got him through this prison, you won. If not, everybody dies. It was pretty much the same movie.
And then there was Surrogates came out.
And then Surrogates came out at the same time too, which was all about.
Oh, that's a good movie. I've seen that one.
Yep. So there's these stories are out there, and and here's my thing that's really weird about when it comes to stories or movies, is once somebody thinks of it and puts it on print where enough people see it or watch it or hear it, it becomes fact. That's pretty much the way of the world, and that's why religions work. It's life. It's energy. It's when you get enough people to believe in something, no matter how fictitious it is, it becomes real and it becomes fact.
What's the old saying? When you have to decide between the legend. When you have to decide between the legend and the truth, you always print the legend.
Yeah. When when truth becomes legend, you print the legend.
Yeah.
That's that an old Western.
Yeah.
Really good movie. But that was the first time anybody, I think, had heard that. But that's the way religions work. It's the same way covens work, or witchcraft. If you get enough people believing in the same idea, focused in their energy on the same thing, fuck yeah.
Did I go too far off the deep end when I started to talk about my mushroom trip and Anton LaVey and L. Ron Hubbard?
No, because if that's what you were tripping, if that's what you were thinking about on mushrooms, that's what you got to talk about. See,
right.
That's the thing about hallucinogenics. You don't, fuck, man. I've met people who were on so many hallucinogenics. They came up to me and started talking about pink dinosaurs, and they're out to get me, and everybody knows I'm frying. What are we doing next? You never know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's like, if somebody told me I was thinking about Andrew LaVey and Ron L. Hubbard and shit, and Jim Parsons, and it's like, to me that sounds like, that all of those actually fit together. So it sounds to me like you were actually frying balls.
Well, I didn't even know about Jack Parsons until after. I didn't even know the rest of the story. The only thing that I had happen on mushrooms was Anton LaVey and L. Ron Hubbard, and then the rest of the information seemed to find its way to me after that. And that's what trips me out even more.
And that's how it works. I did DMT for the first time when I was 19. Now I've done it more than once. I just said I only did it once on the radio. Hey, Trips fans. And the first time I did it, it changed my life forever. I instantly went from being probably a punk, stupid kid to genius. Actually, I was pretty smart growing up, but like it really gave me a whole different view on the outlook of the world, on life, and just a different connection. You know what I'm saying? And I felt I still do, you know. And that's why I say, you know, you have to ground yourself and you have to hallucinate at least once a year. That is my, you know, that's kind of like my thing. I tell everybody, you should do it at least once a year. You got to get yourself grounded. That you got to get get back on your frequency.
Yep.
You can't let them, you know, you watch TV, you do this, you listen to the radio, you hear music, you see marketing. All that shit's designed to fuck you up. We eat their food. Their food is full of rat poison and shit. For real. And I love people who talk about organic shit. Oh, but it's organic. What do you mean it's organic? The farmer who grew it organically. Right. But how long had that dirt been there before he planted his organic seed? That dirt is infected. Guess what? Our water is infected. Our dirt is infected. Our air is infected. I don't care how organic you fucking think it is. It's not. It's been fucked up. And we're fucked up too. For the same thing. It's all designed to do that. Why? I really don't understand that too, because if I were Monsanto or the Koch brothers, I'd want to keep people as live and eating as much of my shit as humanly possible.
See, you gotta remember though that there's more to it than just corporations running this. You know, I mean, this is they're after population control. You know, they'll be happy. They'll be happy when the world's dropped down to what was it? Little over 3 million or something like that.
But why? My question is that they know something that we don't. Why do they want to limit? Why are they in such a rush to limit this number?
I don't know.
That's something that, you know, that's something like you know, it's
the Georgia Guidestones.
But it's like, but we've been. I'm just gonna let you guys know we are at 1 hour and 6 minutes, and it's almost 4 o'clock.
All right, well, let's call it a night.
You want to? I mean, like, yeah, I'm actually kind of.
Yeah, we're tired too.
Yeah. Just FYI. But
right,
I
think print out like 400 copies of these flyers still, so.
So what do we call this show?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. Let's come up with a good name for this one. We talked about all sorts of shit.
We went from police control to Columbine shootings and false flags, and then we ended up talked a little about hallucinogenics. We talked about games.
I know rolling a doobie and tripping on mushrooms.
We don't. Well, he wasn't on trips.
No, I know. Oh, this is the trips. Oh,
right.
We're
gonna name trips.
Oh, I gotcha.
So let's say false flags, DMT. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't fucking know. Let's think of a good. Trying to think of a. I forgot what we talked about the first half of the show. Shit. I'm high. Speaking of high.
False flag. I had an idea. It was police, state, and.
How about false flags and vaginal occupation?
Okay, got it.
Which I still didn't get to see because Facebook never